after that break that we just came from, not gonna let extended break. Got a commercial for you. Something cool. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. If you're just tuning in, we updating coronavirus, yes. Other things that's going on in the world besides the coronavirus, yes, because that's all they showing you on TV. Y'all be getting your free cable for all the coronavirus coverage they showing you. All the coverage they ain't showed you, you'll think they've been figured this shit out by now. No, we just know Italy, they death rate going up. Yep, I'm gonna tell you why, because them people being contained. They breathe in the same air. They need a respirator, a thing to push that air out of the building. Just, recirculate air. It's going to re-infect the zone that you're in, and you can get another type of the virus. Other part of the virus. People doing to keep themselves safe. Washing your hands. I mean, I'm thinking they're giving y'all laws that your mom and your parents taught you when you were little. When you wake up in the morning, what you do? Wash your face, brush your teeth. You get some on your hand, or you use the bathroom, wash your hands. Now you stop washing your hands. You forgot about the old ways. Now they're making you do the shit. They're putting it back in routine again.
To wash your face, you got to wash your hands. Soap is on your hands, so you got to wash your hands to wash your face. But we do this coronavirus and infection rate is spreading, and it's going faster than even we can imagine. Even what we was talking about weeks ago. We got another guest in the studio, and I want Big O to introduce us to who we got in the studio. This is a professional, work in the field. So Big O, introduce it.
Ground Zero experts. We have the lady Dee with us. Another person that's been keeping up, dealing with the same situation that most people scared to go outside from, but on the front line of some type things. Sharing her thoughts and, other things too. We're going to get off into more of this because this coronavirus thing is really, really serious and it's affecting everybody. If you didn't know, you already got it. You might not be explaining symptoms. It's cool. Don't freak out. Don't freak out because, you get a cold, you sneeze, right? So you don't freak out, right? So don't freak out. Everybody got the coronavirus. Just better take care of yourself and watch who you're around. And Miss D got some interesting things she want to tell us. Also, other ways you trying to keep yourself. If you're sick, maybe go to the hospital. If they ain't got the vaccine, but you sick, so they can put you there. That way you ain't out. I hate to put my mom in there, but hey, if you sick, I'm coming there with you. But go somewhere. That way they stopping everything. And you see day by day, the schools, restaurants, bookstores. Pretty soon it's going to be the stores that you're going in to buy the stuff that they telling you go out and buy every day, which Mr. Kelvin told you to buy you 4 buckets under $100. You'll have a lot more food after them 2 weeks because you're going to be in there a month or 3 months.
Right. That was at least 3 months supply. Well, first of all, I want to welcome Miss D. Yeah, come on. All right, come on, Miss D. Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
That was 3 months of supplies. You could have with a family of 4. It's easy to survive 3 months off of those just supplies that I asked you to get weeks ago before they made a run on toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and toilet paper, water, and hand sanitizer is not going to save you from this virus. The head of the head doctor of the Trump administration has already came out and said that this virus is 10 times stronger than a common flu virus. 10 times. Between the time, this 2.5 months that has been affecting the United States citizens, it has 10 times affected more people than the common virus. I know Miss D got some questions and she got some interesting facts for everybody. So we're going to give her the floor.
So just a few things that's happening. As O mentioned, at the front line of things right now, and I'm being put out there each day to confront people, screen people, check on people, get calls from patients. The primary thing is, and what's interesting is, we need to, a lot of the things we're doing for precautions, we need to do day to day, daily, aside from the coronavirus.
Right.
Although, a lot of things that you'll be screened for when you go to a medical facility would be if you're coughing, if you're short of breath, if you've been around anyone that's coughing or short of breath, if you've traveled outside of your community, outside of your home, if you've traveled to Louisiana, outside of the state, outside of the country. They'll also confirm that you hadn't been around anyone that you know of that has been tested or exposed or for the coronavirus. Those are things that are happening now. But primarily, things we need to get in practice to do is wash our hands daily regardless.
Yeah.
Be careful not to touch our face or before we eat, we're washing our hands. And not just washing your hands with plain water, using soap and water, and ensuring that you're washing your hands for up to 20 seconds or more.
Yeah.
So sing the birthday song, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, do a little dance if you need to, whatever needs to be done to make sure you're cleaning under your nails, cleaning between your fingers, cleaning your hands really good up to your wrists. So that's important. Make sure, I'm seeing a lot of people when I was in the stores with the crowds trying to make sure I had enough food for just the children since they're out of school. It's not one of those, I need to have food in the house due to the pandemic.
Right.
But now, a lot of the children are out of school now. We have to ensure that they have those microwavable foods for those single parents that can't pay for child care, or for, those mothers that just have to leave their kids at home. Get those microwavable foods, those ramen noodles that they can warm up in the microwave, or those simple things. We just need to make sure that with those going on, I saw a lot of people this weekend with gloves on.
I seen a few too.
A lot of people with gloves on. But I never saw them switch their gloves out. Gloves stay on the box. One use only.
Yeah.
When you touch something, the moment you touch something with your gloves, they're automatically contaminated. So if you're touching things in the store or publicly, wherever you may be, and then you get back in your vehicle and touch your steering wheel with that same glove, go touch your door handle at home, go into your house or wherever you may go, you contaminated all those things.
Yeah.
So just ensure, if you do choose to wear gloves right now, day to day, change those gloves each time you touch something. There are ways to change contaminated gloves. Make sure you look into that so you know how to properly change a contaminated glove. You don't just take them off. It is a proper way to take off a contaminated glove, as well as think about, if you are wearing gloves, make sure that you're covering yourself properly. You are protecting yourself to a certain extent with gloves. This is an airborne virus. You're not protecting your eyes, you're not protecting your mouth or your nose, but you have gloves on.
Yeah.
The least likely, you may get something in your cuticles, but that's slim to none chances. So just, if you do choose to put gloves on, go the extra step and protect yourself properly.
Absolutely. The PPEs. Matter of fact, I got a stream from I forgot who it was from, but the sales of PPEs. PPE means personal protective equipment. Regular people is not being able to buy a lot of the PPEs, personal protective equipment. That's such as masks and
OSHA certified
OSHA certified gloves or what have you.
Apron,
Right. Goggles, for one thing, we're not being able to get that because this is an airborne disease.
And that's not going to help. And then if it's airborne, like she said, the eyes, we can't get it though. It's not accessible to us to get it.
Right.
We gonna basically be into it anyway. And a thing that she said about the gloves, also, the coronavirus sits on latex gloves for 20 minutes. So if you're not switching them gloves out, everything you touching getting the coronavirus. Everything. Then you reinfecting things that you touching, and that's up to 14 to 21 days. That's probably why they couldn't get a hand on this pandemic, because they probably been flew this in since May of last year. People walking around with that shit, just spreading that shit. Then they had travel on A-list. The stock market was doing good. Everything was thriving. And all them people had the coronavirus walking around spreading it. That's why that shit popping up the way it's popping up like wildfire. Say somebody strike a match and throw it in the rainforest. You strike a match, throw it in the rainforest, that bitch going to engulf. Y'all ain't seen that. That's the same thing with the coronavirus. People have been had the coronavirus. It's just starting to show signs now.
Yeah, like your reference to the rainforest. Oh, if I go into the rainforest and I'm only one there and I strike a match and walk out, it may take 3 months before somebody realizes that rainforest is on fire. It done engulfed 1 million acres of land because nobody comes there. Nobody goes there. They may see a little smoke off in the distance, but after a certain amount of time, the smoke starts spreading out and dissipating, so it looks like a cloud in the sky. So ain't no telling how long that fire has been burning. With the coronavirus, ain't no telling how long it's been burning. Remember, the coronavirus is of the family of the common cold. So there's no cure for it. And no telling how long this coronavirus has been out and been killing people, and they just thinking it's pneumonia. Because the only way you could test for the coronavirus is with a coronavirus test. The SARS virus test is not going to work for the coronavirus. That's the reason why we're having so many tests come back as coronavirus. And 2 days later, when they get the pneumonia, oh, it's coronavirus.
One of the things I enjoy hearing when I listen to y'all's podcast is, if you have an issue with it, prove us wrong.
Yes.
I'm going to help you prove your point.
Right.
If you pay attention to the Lysol bottles you have currently in your home, it says on the things that it protects in that paragraph, one of the things is coronavirus. Mm-hmm. If it was something that's just coming about right now, that wouldn't have been pre-printed.
Right.
No one expected this to happen. It's been out there for people. They just didn't know that this is what you may be suffering from. Some of the people that have died, and one of the nurses that came up to visit us during the beginning of the screening this week alone said, just imagine the amount of people that have died thinking they may have had pneumonia or a cold, and they may have possibly had the coronavirus. And also, when you have people, when you look at doctors, they're just giving you their opinion about what they believe you have. A lot of times, most times, they're not testing to confirm. They're going off of their quote-unquote medical opinion.
Mm-hmm. And I listen, I do admire doctors and professionals and nurses, but that's why they call being a doctor is practicing medicine. You practicing. You're not the be all say all. You practicing.
Let's see it this way: alcohol and water. Okay, it didn't. Beer and chicken.
You cheat though. Beer and chicken is also good.
The equation. See, they put beer and chicken together. They tried beer and pancakes. That shit didn't go together. It's all about beer and a Big Mac.
No.
Beer and from fried chicken. Shit. Hey, I can get a bucket kernel.
Chicken and beer, pizza and beer. That was a good combination.
Anything that's gonna put something on you. Mm-hmm. Either grease or yeast.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know O. He gonna do his thing. Yes, sir. But what we're trying to say is remain safe, and we could do that fairly easy, just keeping our immune system up. stand in just contact of our immediate family. One of the things I disagree with what the CDC and the United States government is saying is when you get somebody in your household that's been confirmed with the coronavirus, is to isolate everybody in the same house. That's crazy. Ms. D, that don't make sense to me. Can you make that make sense?
I cannot make that make sense.
Everybody's sick now.
That is impractical. A couple of things that you want to keep in mind. When you are in the same facility, one, as we saw, just reading some information about the coronavirus, the airborne or the coronavirus spread 6 feet out or further. That I presume would be a guess. But it could spread further. If you're in a house with someone, you're going to be within 6 feet of them. You know, I know you love your family members. We all do. Sometimes we do want to get away from them. This may be a mini vacation for some people. We don't always like them. It is important to know that. It is important to know that even if your family member isn't even exposed or around some or test positive for the coronavirus, you do need to keep your distance from them. You don't need to be using the same toilet as them, the same sinks, the same recycled air in a house. Those things you don't need to be doing with someone that is positive for the coronavirus.
Yeah, and I assume that goes for glasses and towels and what have you.
Anything
like if
you can touch.
Right. If I got to go in the room and take care of my sick son with the coronavirus, 9 times out of 10, I got it. 9 times out of 10. So me and him have to stay. One person go in and take care of them. They pretty much got it. Those 2 people pretty much got it. So they need to separate themselves from the rest of the family. That's the thing that happened in Italy. They got it. They self-contained in the same house. So everybody in that house ended up with it. So the death toll jumped.
Nigga, the whole house.
500-600 times in a night.
That's why we're gonna board y'all in the house like they did in China.
In China, they was locking them up in the house.
Everybody in there infected, so y'all ain't coming out that way. We ain't got to worry about y'all spreading.
Yeah, your apartment complex
still
infected.
a human being though.
Lock
we ain't got no
in.
vaccine either.
And then the ones try to come out the window, shoot them down.
And they ain't closed the borders for everywhere for all kind of travel. If y'all didn't catch that one, they ain't closed the border. So if you're not in Mexico right now, you can't go to Mexico no time soon. You in the United States, you a United States citizen by right now. Because they ain't worried about if you escaped or if you ain't got no visa. They don't care about that shit right now. They worry about if you got the coronavirus or not.
Yeah. And I believe in my soul. This is just only my belief. I have no scientific data, no research data to prove it. But I believe that 90% of the world has the coronavirus already in their system. And the COVID-19 is something different, which is a akin to the coronavirus. So we have it in our system already, and it's a common cold. So that means you can get it over and over, and you can walk out the door and get another strand of it, even though you just got over it. So this is not a one-time thing. Our 14 days is over. Guess what? The coronavirus is still out there. The different strands are still out there. Whether you got it 13 days ago or 1 day ago, this thing is still out there and still mutating.
Make it make sense, Mr. Kelvin.
Make it make sense.
The common cold. It starts as a cold, then as it progresses, it goes to pneumonia. The same thing with the coronavirus. Now, if you got the pneumonia already because you didn't have the common cold and then it's progressing, say 14 days, you got the coronavirus, it's going to kill you. Because it's going to mutate your cells, replicate the DNA in there, and it's gonna shut your lungs down because you ain't got no way to breathe. Like you and Miss D was talking about.
Absolutely. Oh.
You need to breathe. That's why I need some air. Now I can't get no air, and I'm getting this recycled air in the house, and it's sick out. Ain't like, I mean, yeah, me smoking. They blow CFCs in the fucking thing from cars. You know, that shit bad for you, but you inhaled it, but they don't care about that. But coronavirus air is way bad air.
Yeah, check this out, oh. If you got the common cold, just the sniffles, not even a cough with it. That's the sniffles. That's a common cold. You got a cough and sniffles. That's another strand. You got a cough, sniffles, fever. It's another strand. You got a cough, sniffles, fever, and aches and pains. That's another one. Now then you go to the flu. You understand where we're going? All the way up to the coronavirus 19. The COVID-19, this is where we're at today. And from the common flu to the 19, we are 10 times worse than the next one that's close.
You're damn right, because you named 5 different symptoms of things, and then you jump to the 19. So that went 1, 2, 3, 4. The strand got
all the
stronger.
way up. All the way up.
And then 19 is and then it's 2020. And they say
yeah. It's all the way up. Ms. D, can you expound on that? Are we thinking the right things over here?
Absolutely. There are so many different strands, so many different, when a cell or different, even a germ, you could say, it has the capability to mutate itself. So once you have, it looks a different way, it's a different strand. That's what happens. It's very easy to do. And just as you mentioned earlier, if you are exposed to a certain strand of the coronavirus, you can still get another. Right. You can still expose yourself to the same strand. You do have to be careful. There are certain people that believe right now the world's just panicking. They're overreacting. This is not that serious. Everybody just needs to take a big old chill pill. There is some truth to that. If you protect yourself on a day-to-day basis, not just during this pandemic, but on the days that you wake up, you're going to work, you're just going through the motions, you come home, you start cooking, on those regular days, if you adhere to those simple things that we were taught as children, as O said, it'll take us a long way. I did want to touch on what you mentioned during the break, since O brought it up about, some people that are coughing and short of breath. Those are the 2 primary symptoms of the coronavirus. And people are they just can't breathe. That's where a large amount of the deaths are coming from right now. The CDC is telling you that, how did you say it, Mr. Kelvin?
What they're telling you is do not come into the medical facilities because they only have a certain amount of respirators, and the coronavirus attack your lungs, which means you can't breathe. And when you get a population of people that don't have the resources, the medical resources or the insurance, or that's important enough, if you're not the sheriff of this district or not, if you're not the politician, if you're not the judge, if you're not a famous person's son or daughter, you're not important enough to be able to get the test, let alone getting the respirator, the machines to keep you alive. Because this disease attacks the lungs, and if you cannot breathe, this is the only thing that can make you breathe, unless you got somebody over you pumping the air into you 24/7.
The instructions we're getting in a medical office, we do staffing meetings every morning right now, just to ensure all the employees are on the same page. We're all abreast on what needs to be done. The instruction we're getting right now is do not advise people or encourage people to use face masks, the respirator mask, due to the shortage. It's not that they don't need it. We just don't have the supply America needs at this point to give it to people. So the thought process is don't even tell people about
Right. Right.
Don't even mention it. Don't bring it up.
It's a whole lot easier to control the masses if you don't have to tell them, say, look, I cannot give your grandmother this respirator because the mayor's daughter just got this and she may need this respirator. So it's easy to control them without having to tell them. Just say, you know what? We did all we could do. It's on your mother. Mm-hmm. Let's just bow our heads and pray. Your mother means nothing to them. But the mayor's daughter means something to them.
Right. They only got 29 hospital beds, 10,000 cases. I mean, come on.
ICU units in the United States has only had 67,000 ICU unit beds. Out of that 67,000, is maybe 50,000 with working respirators. You got 370 million people in the United States. If you tested 2 million people a day, which is possible, if you tested 2 million people a day, and you come to find out that that 800,000 of those 2 million people have the coronavirus, well, they lining up at the hospitals to get their respirator. You got 60,000 beds, and you got 50,000 respirators working. You got on order, but they ain't coming in because guess what? The whole world got them on order.
That bitch shut down. Ain't nothing moving.
Nothing moving. Who's going to get it? The most important people. David Rockefeller.
They probably already got it.
David Rockefeller got 7 heart transplants. At 103 years old, this old bastard died. I'm sorry. This old man died at 103 years old. He had 7 heart transplants. How did he get to the top of the list 7 times?
7 times. You got that much money. You got all the gold too.
You got to the top of the list 7 times in a row.
Hot commodity to come by.
Absolutely. A heart transplant is in the top.
And a viable donor too. How many people they ain't fucked up that's just get a good heart?
People been on a waiting list 7-8 years with just barely just running through a machine to keep their heart going.
Derek Tyler, he needed a heart. He got one. He on death row in Angola. How he get a fucking heart? Oh, you gonna live these days till we execute your ass? Come on.
He ain't need no heart. He ain't need no heart.
Fuck no, he need no heart. That's
propaganda.
Yeah, that nigga need the mind. Shit, he need no heart. He need the mind.
Yeah. So these things going around. Oh, who gonna get the respirator?
The people that's already got them, because they know what. A pandemic gonna happen one day. When you move in your house or you go to a certain place, they gonna have a box in there. When you go in there, they're gonna have something for you and your family in there, so y'all might be able to survive what may come about. That's the only people that get it. Because people like us, we toughing it out. We ain't got no respirators on. We sitting. It's 3 people sitting here right now, and we ain't coughing, ain't sniffling. Might have the coronavirus. And look, it's been here 3 months to y'all knowledge. But me, I'm thinking, Mr. Kelvin, Dee know. It's been since last year, I mean before then.
Yeah, he may
been inhaling this shit.
Long.
You been sneezing around you probably never know people sneeze around you.
When this first came about, I know some people may look to the side of their eye at me when I say this, or question me. I Googled the coronavirus. Initially, when we start hearing talk about it. And on an article about the coronavirus, it was documented that this virus has been around since the 1800s. Now, since I've heard different talks about it just becoming an actual virus and it's new, and even one of the pages that I picked up today in the office that's being passed out said that the coronavirus came about in 2019, which is a lie.
Right.
However, I've gone back since, after I've seen all these things published and discussed and said, to try to find that same article that I saw when I initially looked up this virus. I cannot find this article anywhere. I cannot find this article anywhere. Now, I have big eyes. I can't always see. Maybe you can go prove me wrong.
Yeah. I believe you. I know you're a researcher like me and O. Yeah, I believe you.
They don't want you to believe what you're seeing.
That's right. That's right.
We are being.
We ain't show you that. No, forget about that.
That's
You
right.
didn't just see that. Yes, I did. You can't tell me no.
Now that it's become more serious, you can't find that information.
Right. We're being challenged with alternative facts every single day.
That's right.
That's what they call alternative facts every single day. Just last month, Trump was saying, we got this under control. Ain't but 15 cases, and soon it'll be disappeared. As soon as it gets warm enough, it's going to disappear. It's going to be just like magic. Okay? Now,
his wife got it.
Now, we're going through lockdown after lockdown, panic buying. I was at a store the other day, and this rich white woman came in with a dually and her two little blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids, and she said, "I'm so disappointed because I went to the bank and they wouldn't let me get but $3,000 cash out. I don't understand them."
How much you need?
And I'm going, what the hell you need $3,000 cash for? You got 3 freezers full of food. You got deer meat. You got lamb. You got duck. You got fish. You got chicken. You got barrels of shit out in your yard. What do you need more cash for? She said, just in case I might have to bug out.
You got guns and you got bullets too, which they ain't selling right now.
You got $3,000 cash. If I had $3,000 cash, I wouldn't be worried about shit because I'd have bought me 8 buckets instead of the 4 buckets of stuff that I told you to buy 3 weeks ago. So that's some of the things that we don't understand. I don't understand. The monsters always had the power of the money. For the last 2,020 years, they've had the power of the money and been running roughshod over the world. You know what? It's time for them to be afraid. It's actually time for them to be afraid. They're not afraid of us being able to buy enough guns to fight with them or to correct what is wrong in this country. They're not afraid of that. We don't have enough power, influences, or military capability to do that. They're truly afraid of that God will step in, the Most High God will step in and say, now the tables is going to turn. This is what you're going to be afraid of. Your arms are too short to box with God. I don't care how many guns you put up. I don't care how many bullets you bought. I don't care how many hypersonic missiles you built. I don't care how many times you claimed you went to space. I don't care how many times you say you got nuclear weapons in space. Kill an angel with a nuclear weapon, then we can talk. Other than that, it's time for you to be afraid. Rome, the monsters who run over the world, run roughshod over the world for the past 2,020 years, it's time for you to be afraid. Yes, the Most High God has stopped playing. He decided, you know what? You done had enough. You had enough of this foolishness. It's time for me to set the record straight. I don't got a problem with that. Oh?
I sure don't have a problem with it because I know I've been praying and talking to this person and we've been having this good relationship, man. I'm going to get to see him do. He say, man, I got you. He going to come down. Yeah. All that shit. Y'all going to be running, ducking, hide, going under rocks and all type of shit. And guess what? He could pick that rock up. Ooh, hey, what you doing up under there?
Yeah, the rock ain't gonna hide.
Yeah, I'll wait for you. You gonna come on find us? You talking about you wanna go out of space, huh? I'm gonna take your ass out of space. All right, where the fuck am I going? Hell.
You can try to hide under rocks.
I'm gonna move all. I'm gonna levitate all of them. I believe in you. You say my heart is pure. Yes, but you phony. I'm a merciful God, but I also have a sense of humor, and that's good. Not to be playing with the bad, but you know, everybody got their own personal relationship. That's how me and him is. You know, that's my boy.
Yeah.
Y'all might want to try to get with him like that. You know, make sure. Don't try to wait to the end to try to, you know, talk about your penance and everything. You know, you gotta talk to him every day. Your own personal relationship. That way, whenever something do happen, you cover with his blood. I mean, that's just my belief. You know, his people always went through the hardest times, the worst stuff ever happened to them, and they always, like roaches, prevail. Roaches ain't going nowhere. You might hit them bitches and think they dead. They look back up at you, pick their leg up, and walk off and come back later. Hey, you thought you killed me out there? I'll get that bed anyway. That's That's how black people is, man. We won't stay down. You can step on us, we're gonna look up. You know what I'm saying? Don't put your Martin Luther King say, let a man stand straight up without you standing on his back. I'm gonna stand straight up on him. That's why we good out here.
Well, oh yeah, we'd had our 40 acres and a mule in 1865 when we first released from this so-called slavery bondage. We'd had our 40 acres and a mule. We'd already be ahead of the curve. We'll already be running this country. They set it up so nobody, 0% of the slaves got their 40 acres and a mule. You know who got reparations? The slave owners got reparations.
You buy more slaves.
For every slave, if they could produce a record, for every slave who was so-called lost in 1865, they got up to $1,500 per slave. These are the plantation owners, the landowners. Even if it was one man and one woman who owned one slave, you got a $1,500 head start. We got zero. What we got was laws put into place to keep us down. It was like the vagrancy law of 1865. They said if you don't have a job, we can put you in jail and actually make you a slave again.
Yeah, you gonna work. That what jail is, slavery.
Yeah.
Free labor. You need a ditch, need building. Go dig that ditch. Turn that big rock to a small rock.
They keep hitting it. It's gonna get there. 1965. In right there in Liberty, Mississippi, they still had black slaves. Was interviewed on camera by NBC.
I watched that interview too. Talk about how they did.
This is 1965, the same year I was born. They had real slaves. So this is not hundreds of years ago. Well, you ain't had no part in it, Mr. White Man. This ain't hundreds of years ago. Well, you ain't had no part in it. You had part in it all the way from the beginning of this country existence, and the federal government has been participating in it all the way up until now. Just for one example of a fact, the Tuskegee experiment with 600 black men was given the syphilis disease and monitored by doctors and paid for by the United States government. The first year, they was trying to find a cure for syphilis. By 9 months of the first year, they had found a cure already. But this experiment went on for 40 years. For 40 years to 1972. And in 1972, a white reporter broke the news. The federal government said, shut off the funding for it. And the men still never got a cure. Or their families never got treated with the cure. In 1972. This is crazy. Federal government, United States federal government funded that. After that, Margaret Sanger, that evil bitch, Margaret Sanger, which was head of Planned Parenthood, targeted the black and poor communities for abortion centers. She is the one who put abortion centers out in the United States. A lot of people think that it was the man that can be the worst, ruthless, most dangerous animal on the planet. No, it's their woman that they put up on a pedestal and treat like a queen. She did it.
You smell my beans?
So yes, we putting a little bit of everything. Get a little bit of everything mixed up in here. We got what do we call it? On Wednesday.
Woke Wednesdays.
Woke Wednesdays. Yeah, so we're gonna come up with the Woke Wednesdays. I got a whole series of biblical studies coming up on Woke Wednesdays. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all hang in there. We're going to do what we need to do. Like, subscribe,